Before we begin, a word from our sponsor, Concubines. Want a couple of hundred husbands or wives without the hassle of in-laws or equality? Are you tired of being obligated to listen to your partner's long, boring stories about their hopes and dreams, or how much they hate Dennis from work, or whatever they ramble on about? We all hate Dennis, but you shouldn't have to hear your partner ramble on about him. That's why you need concubines. Indentured servants have never been so popular, and you'll be surprised at how affordable they can be. Concubines are endorsed by celebrities such as Empress Wu of China and Mongol leader Genghis Khan. Celebrity king and verified customer King Solomon stated in an exclusive interview, quote, "I already had 300 wives, but adding 700 concubines was just what I needed to take my mind off their endless nagging about taking out the trash or returning to their homeland, or whatever. Thank you, concubines." End quote. Be sure to conquer a neighboring kingdom, tribe, or something along the lines, or even just head over to your local concubine retailer today.
Top 4 ancient fitness tips. Number 4, warriors don't overtrain. Now this seems somewhat counterintuitive because usually we think of warriors as like these almost mythical cavemen-like figures who did nothing but eat turkey legs and lifted heavy things all day. Now there was a lot of turkey eating going on as well as working out, but they wouldn't push themselves past safety on a daily basis. They had to still work their daily duties and be ready for battle at any time. If you've ever been in the military, you know that well over 98% of what we do is preparation. The other 2% obviously is actual fighting, what you're paid to do. Ancient militaries were no different. Warriors still had to be physically able to perform their daily duties, and overtraining was an unnecessary risk. In the early days of the Roman army, it was a citizen's duty to protect their country in times of war. So their livelihood still depended on them being able to bring home that bacon. This includes the times when they were trained for battle by their ruling generals. And interesting little fact for you, oftentimes Rome would stop their wars altogether during seasons when farmers were needed most. It's true, you could look it up. And don't get me wrong, exercise is still an essential part of a healthy life. I could go on for hours about its benefits, but for now I'll only touch on one that is especially beneficial to men and women today. And that is resistance to discomfort. Now that doesn't mean that exercise will take away your pain, but instead it builds up your willpower and pain tolerance to combat life's difficult times. If you've ever read books by former Navy SEALs like David Goggins or Jocko Willink, the power of the mind over your body is so necessary on your warrior journey. And honestly, it's been my personal greatest benefit that I've gotten from exercising. It's a very good thing to voluntarily subject ourselves to pain in working out or like taking cold showers or something like that, so long as we aren't injuring ourselves long term. The whole point of not overtraining is so that you could train harder every single day. Basically, just make sure that you're working out hard enough to break a sweat, but not hard enough to where you're seriously damaging your own body. Exercise should always improve your life, not take away from it. Number 3, warriors prevent laziness of mind. What's the use of knowing how to exercise without actually having the willpower to get up out of bed and go train? In ancient Greece, the great philosopher Aristotle used the phrase, healthy mind in a healthy body. He believed that physical exercise could increase the brain's ability to think clearly. And this is actually backed up by studies from PubMed that show low aerobic fitness and obesity are actually linked together with lower standardized testing scores. Now you might be thinking, Brandon, what on earth does a philosopher like Aristotle know about warrior training?
Hey, sup, nerd?
Hey,
Hey,
nerd,
friends.
what are you doing? Oh, you're cleaning a shield.
You get a new hobby?
It's for my student, Alexander.
I was about to say, when did you start
that's so
fighting?
cool.
Oh, that's so nice of you to be
So cool.
doing that for him.
Yes,
I
it
think
was-
you.
oh.
I think you missed this. I think
Oh,
you missed
that's
this slide.
my shield.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
oh,
you're
look
gonna
at
have
that.
to
You got a
look it up.
rag, too. Oh, that's adorable.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
It's
No,
actually
you don't need
mine.
that. He doesn't
Alright.
need
You don't
that.
need that. That's okay,
Hey,
bud.
you should probably pick up your shield.
Oh, sorry about
Pick up your
that.
shield.
Oh,
Pick it up.
oh,
Pick it up. Oh, come on, dude. Pick up your...
Yeah, go, yeah,
That's what you get. That's what you get. You
Last time I checked, nerds didn't need clothing.
That's like a nerd.
Tunic.
Maybe
No,
you
you
just
don't need a
look a little
tunic. Here's your shield, nerd.
Well, he may have been stuffed in a locker or two. Aristotle was the teacher of one of history's greatest warriors, a man who conquered the entire known world by his early 30s. That's right, Aristotle tutored Alexander the Great. King Philip II of Macedon, Alexander's father, wanted his son Alexander to have a strong mind in addition to a warrior's physique. That's why he chose Aristotle to teach Alexander and many other young boys who actually would later grow up and become some of Alexander's commanding generals. So yeah, he knew a thing or two about warrior training. As the old saying goes, if the mind is fit, the body will soon follow. Number 2, warriors don't overeat grains. So there was a documentary that came out a little while ago called Game Changers, and one of the ideas that they talked about is that gladiators were like these beastly warriors that were in top physical condition, but they were all vegetarians. Therefore, the best warrior diet is nothing but vegetables. This is laughable at best. So actually there's good archaeological evidence to suggest that their diet had at least some animal proteins in it, but the reason that most of them had to eat vegetables is just because they were really poor. A lot of gladiators were slaves and thus couldn't afford nutritious animal proteins as much as the wealthy people back then. So they just mostly ate plant proteins. They were often even called barley men, not to be confused with vegans who are barely men. So they mostly ate vegetables, but not only vegetables. And just because they ate their veggies, this doesn't mean that the optimal warrior diet is just vegetables. The prominent Roman physician named Claudius Galen criticized their diet, saying that it made their flesh soft. And in modern language, sounds like this. Yeah, that's right. French fries actually didn't originate in France. Scribes tell me they were cooked in Greece. Fried food jokes always get my gladiators hungry. Where are my gladiators at? Yeah? Alright, I see you barley boys. This next joke is for you. You guys ready for this? Alright. Yo, gladiators so fat, when they were born, Atlas got a hernia. Basically, eat enough good quality proteins to allow your muscles to grow stronger and prevent injuries. Good sources of animal proteins include like beef steaks, chicken breast, pork chops, and such like that. One thing that a lot of people don't know is that organ meats like liver and heart have a ton of good nutrients in them, especially if they're wild game, like if you've ever hunted before. Those are great. I also try to get grass-fed and grass-finished meat whenever possible because this can end up being more nutritious. The place that I use is Farmer's Box, and I will put a link down below in the description. They grass-feed and grass-finish their beef and pork. But no matter how you get your food, just make sure that you are giving your body proper fuel for recovery. Warriors treat their bodies like weapons. You must keep your weapons maintained at all times. Number 1, warriors lift weights. So in addition to bodyweight exercises like push-ups, squats, and such, ancient warriors across the world would lift up different objects to increase their strength. This is everything from pots of boiling water in China to rocks, logs, and even small animals in Greece. Some Viking literature suggests that even just to get on certain fishing boats, Viking men would have to pick up certain sized rocks that dictate where on the ship they would sit. The smaller the rock, the less status they would have. And they pretty much labeled the rocks from like scrawny little weakling all the way up to the cool guy rock, which was around 340 pounds, and it had to be lifted up to hip height. And that's just to go fishing with the guys, which, come to think of it, that's pretty similar to like what my brother and I had to do just to watch TV when we were younger. So I grew up on a little farm, and after school, if we wanted to watch American Idol, which is what my family would do, my dad would make us ride sheep, and it really sucked because rams are total jerks, and if you fall off, they tend to hit you with their horns. But anyway, I liked American Idol, so it made it totally worth it, and it made me the warrior I am today. But just to recap, warriors throughout the ages have increased their strength and muscle mass to overpower their enemies and achieve their goals. For you, lifting weights can increase your strength, confidence, attractiveness, muscle mass, health, and just overall give you some energy to do the things that you know you should be doing. Before I go, I'll leave you with this quote. It's from Socrates in Memorabilia. Quote, "No citizen has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. What a disgrace it is for a man to grow old without ever seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable." I'm Brandon Muniz. Thanks for watching.
No, keep doing it.
Like, go hardcore, stretch your jaw, like, do it a few more times. Like, as open, as open as everything. Let's go. 3, 2, 1.
Number 4. Warriors don't overtrain. Now this seems somewhat counterintuitive because they usually think of warriors.
Is that your back?
Oh, it was my freaking knee. I knew you were gonna start laughing. So.
I wasn't laughing. All I heard was your freaking knee just go fuck. Meh.
Yeah, that works. Alright, for real this time.
The dead fish look.
Stop, I have to summon that again. Dang it, hold on. It's just... Okay. Alright. Dead puppies, dead puppies.
Why do you hate animals?
Hey.
Why do you hate animals?
I just don't really see their function aside from food.
My puppy died late last fall.
Alright, let's go.
He's still
right.
rotting in the hall.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Alright guys.
Alright.
Whenever you're ready.
I've never heard that song before, have you?
No, we don't sing stupid stuff like that in New Mexico.
That's a real song.
Alright, I was laughing part of that. Okay.
There you go.
So,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back up, scoot back just a hair.
Under the bed?
And then, yeah, try to get like
Here,
that
move
sort
this.
of angle.
Sandals.
Do you throw my glasses somewhere?
Just one scene of that, then we're gonna switch to a different place. We'll do a little bit of kicking, and then they're gonna start tearing my cloaks off. All right?
Cinderella.
Do not tear the cloaks off just yet. Just kicking.
What's up? What's up? What's
Pick
up?
up your shield.
Get
Pick up your
up.
shield.
Yeah, no. Oh, what's this? Oh, he's wearing a belt. Oh, look at this one. Yeah? Ah, yeah. Kick the shit out.
It's not even the same.
Kick the shit out.
Alright.
Come on.
Roll over. Roll over that.
Alright, cut it.
Roll over my dress.
Alright. Is the scene still rolling?
Yeah.
Perfect. Alright. So just like that, except I'm gonna actually be on the ground. Flip.
You're
Now I
just
gotta
like-
do this again.
I like how you just dropped your rag. Like, oh no.
My rag has fallen. Oh dear.